Hello everyone, this is Laura from Great & Company, and today I am here with September's Creative Maker Box. So this one we are creating the Scarecrow, and we'll be doing this one a little different with our assembly than normal. We've cut a lot of the pieces in a 1/4 inch thickness so it can stand on its own, which means then there's no adhesive on the back. So when it comes to assembly, you will need some glue. You could have a really good Gorilla Glue, or even just a white craft glue will be fine for something like this. You don't have to get too super crazy or expensive types of glue to be able to put this together. But we do have the one sheet that has the adhesives, and those will be some of the front pieces. So to get started, the easiest thing right now, because we've got pieces everywhere, is we are going to remove the tape. Now there is a lot of pieces, not a lot. There are some pieces that we will not be doing anything with other than they are used to create a thicker base. So I'm just going to remove all the tape first, and then I can explain to you which ones. You'll also have a little template guide in your box this time, matching the pieces, so that way you know which ones you will paint and which ones you won't paint. So I'm just going to run through this really fast in the video so you don't have to see me do this the whole. Now that that's done, now we can start to organize our colors. So the feet, let's get all these pieces here. All right, where did you go? There it is. All right, so for the first, we have 3 pieces here. And so that whole set does not need to be stained or painted because you're not going to see it anyway. So the 2 front pieces that are separate, those we will be staining. So the other 2 can be set off to the side. So these are being stained. Our hat is being stained, and even if we do get some stain on here, we'll be able to still paint over it in the black. So that's nothing we have to worry about there. We will also be staining this, and if we stain these, we can still paint over with the color there. So not worried about that. This time, oops, here we go. Do this piece, that's the belt. Now on the sample picture, I did these in the brown, but as I realized and I created the pants in the brown finish, I found that to be a little bit much. So I'm actually going to go in and stain the tops of all of my pumpkins instead, just because I like it to be a little bit lighter. So I will have to grab all of these. This one here, hold on, I'm trying to figure out, because some of these are just the fronts and the backs. Hold on. These ones, oh, these ones are up at the top, and these ones are the bottoms. Okay, so yeah, these ones are the ones at the top. These are the ones at the bottom. So we'll do those as well. And anything else from first glance, I think can go off to the side. So I'm just gonna set that off to the side for now. And I don't even need him either. So let's bring out all the pieces. I like to do the staining first, so I can go ahead and use my paper towel after for blotting, and just gets that extra bit out of the way. So let's bring in all of our pieces, and you'll need your gloves. And grab your stain container. I'm just going to put a little bit in mine here. It doesn't take a whole lot. And we're going to get started. So I'm going to leave my ones on the tops until after. That way I can just use up what's in my brush. So I'm just going to give that a dip and then kind of squeeze out that excess, and I'm going to start with my bigger piece here. So Just rub that on. You want to go in the direction of the grain. So these pieces you should be going up and down, or up and down this way, but I'm holding it the other way. So I'm just going to stain that whole thing. Even the eye area, we can come back and paint over that, but sometimes it's just a little easier to not have to worry about masking that off. So, oops, a little bit more up here. There we go. So it doesn't hurt to paint it or stain it, so that's not a problem there. Okay, same thing here. So to not have to worry about those pieces, I'm just going to give them a little stain there. And then just, so watch as you hold it, because you'll get some stain on your gloves and you might leave a little bit of handprints on there. So just be careful when you're holding it. Okay, so those ones are done. This is the belt. Okay, so for this one, we just need the top. And if we go down into the pumpkin, that's okay, because we are going to cover that up anyways. And then just wipe back. And this is actually easier than the paint, because that way you don't have to worry about where you start and stop. You can just paint the brown and then come back and clean it up with the orange. So. Okay, so we've got the 2 for the top, the 3 for the bottom, so those are good. So we're just gonna set those off to the side for now. And we did the top of the hat, the brim. Oh, and I did forget one piece. Let me double check my picture here, because I can't tell what I did, but I believe I stained it. So this is the piece you're gonna wanna be very careful with, is his mouth. So I'm just going to tap it on, and I'm just gonna leave it to dry. I'm not even gonna wipe it. I'm just gonna gently blot any excess off there and then set that off to the side. All right, so I'm just gonna go clean this up, and then I will be right back and we will continue on with another color, okay? Okay, so next I'm going to work on, I'm gonna do his face, and that's where we're gonna need the flesh tone or your skin tone color. So you'll have yours just in a little tiny mini pot. So what I suggest is always just dump it out on a tray, paper plate, just that way you can access that a lot easier. So this time we don't have to be careful in terms of keeping these score marks clean. Those are for placements for the nose and the mouth, so it doesn't matter how we cover them up. And then after, for the eyes, they come on here, so we'll paint those black separately when we do the brim. We can cover it up so we don't have to be quite so clean there, so we'll do that after. So take your sponge, give it a dip, and because we're starting with a big area, we can actually use all of that paint. So start in the middle and then come in and work your way all over. I'm just gonna kind of wipe. And then here we're gonna just try and get as close to the bottom here, and I'll show you something in a second. So just kind of even that out, and then we can take a baby wipe and wipe the edge. Now the collar that goes on here will sit right there. So you need to make sure you at least come down and get a strong color coming down there. And then the rest will be covered up. We'll paint it blue, but you'll still have this overlap of this piece. So we won't have to worry about having it to be perfectly straight across. And if you get any extra, now remember, you're not gonna see the top part. So if you want, you can just come in and clean up anything on the sides. I mean, you can go all the way around as well. It's not gonna hurt it. Okay. And then I'm just gonna let that dry. We can come in and next after this is dry, so this is gonna keep pausing and because there's so many colors, and I'm not, if you have extra sponges at home, that's great. You can go at it with multiple. I'm just going to use what's in the kit so that way those can see just how I use that. So I'm just going to give this a few minutes to dry, and then I'm going to come back again, and then we will work on the next color. Okay, I'm back. It's dry, and I'm going to give it a quick sand, and then I'm just going to do the necessary coats to get it to the color that I want. So I will just speed up the video, and I'll come back when we do the second or the next color. So okay, so I'm going to leave that to dry, and I'm going to work on the next part. So the next one is I'm going to leave that area a little bit, so we'll come back to that because I could do the blue, but it's going to run right next to the flesh tone. So I'm going to cut this off, and then I'm going to go into the orange because we do have a lot of orange, so we might as well get that out of the way. And now that my stain is dry, we can do those areas as well. So this one will need the full pumpkin to do, and then this is its coordinating piece. Same with here. So those are the top pumpkins. Then we have the pumpkins at the bottom. So even though this is overlapping, we can come in here a little bit and not have to be so clean. So depending, this one is piece number 6, so it will go behind the body, so we can definitely come into here and not have to keep this quite so clean. Same with this one. This one already has its score marks, but this is in the one of the ones in the front, so it's kind of lining up there, but you can still come in here and overlap the orange, so that way you don't have to be so precise, and we won't see that either. This one comes into the back. This is one of the ones there. So this one, this one, this one. And let's see, 1, 2, 3 of them. Yeah, so we've got them all there. And then, let's see, we need the little nose. And I think that's it. So we'll get started with the pumpkin spice. It's your true orange one there. We'll give you quite a bit of that, probably like a 1/4 ounce for sure. And I'm going to get started. So I'm not going to blot this one off either right away because I can use all that extra right on here. So I'm just going to come in here and do this. Now, the original file didn't have any leaves, and I just felt it needed some. So it also helps to hide where the stem and the pumpkin meet. So at least when we get in here, we can hide that. So don't worry about being quite so clean there. And like I said, you can come down here and overlap that. So I'm just going to quickly go through all of these. And these score marks too, you don't have to clean out because we will be using them as our guide to where we place the pumpkin pieces on top. So just come in there as close as you can. You can also use a brush if you like. Got your brushes there in your first box. So really, because all of the areas are so big, you can really save some of your paint by not blotting it off this time on the paper towel. Just start in those bigger areas, don't start quite so close to the edge so it's all going off the edge. And if you're pretty even in your application. If there's a little dusting on the side, that's fine. This one, I'm just going to tape. Not sure where I've got a place here. Oh, we can do it up here. So, whoops, nope. I'm gonna have to come right over here. So I'm not sure you're gonna see it off the camera. Oh, you will. Okay. And I'm just gonna hold it on the tape so I don't have to get my fingers dirty. So this shouldn't take very long to dry for me. So I'm gonna come back, give it a sand, and then we will continue on. I'll continue on with the appropriate coats. It'll probably take me 3. This color is a clear base, so it tends to take just that many coats to get a nice even orange. But if you like the coats after 2, then you do what you like. But yes, I will be back in a few minutes. Actually, you know what? Which one did I start with? This one. Yeah, I'm gonna give them a few more minutes and then I'll come back and do them again. Okay, see you soon. Okay, I'm back. Gonna give them a quick sand and then do it again. So just sand, just give them a light sanding, and you can do the stems now too, because they'll be dry. So you might as well do that at the same time. And I'm just going to give them a little distressing while I do that. So your first coat is a base coat, so it doesn't have to be perfect, so don't spend all that time getting it perfect. The biggest thing you want to do is make sure it's just uniform and not, you know, really blotchy and stuff. So, okay, I'm just gonna speed this up and I will be back shortly. Okay, so that second coat, I'm going to let it dry, see how even it is. For the most part, it is pretty even, but there is sometimes just those slightly lighter spots, and that's what I usually will take care of on that third coat. So I will be back very shortly. Okay, see you guys. Okay, I'm back to do number 3. I'm not going to sand them quite yet. I'm just going to quickly run through the third coat. Okay, so those are done. One thing I didn't mention though is to be careful with these pieces, because when we go in later, that's what's going to, I've got to figure out which one, is that these hands will fit into there. So you don't want to make sure you get any, oh, not that one. This one goes in here. Oh, one of them goes in here. I got to figure out which one. And so that way your pieces will layer in there nicely. So as long as your layers are thin and you're not pushing that paint in there, then you should be just fine. Okay, so I'm going to set these off to the side so we don't need these anymore. And whoops, this one could just use a little bit right there. Okay, so I'm going to cut my sponge off. And then I tend to work on the next color that will have the largest surface area. So I'm going to work into doing the blue, which then, and then the brown. So as you can see here, is that in here is like an invisible line. So if you need to, just kind of use this or a ruler or something and just kind of draw yourself a line in there so you know that you can overlap. Now here you're going to have to make sure you stop a little bit, because we'll have to come in and paint these the nutmeg color, but for the most part the rest of it will be all of the blue. So that is the only area in which we are using that color. So we will grab that one. Oops. And get started on that. Okay, so just be careful here. If it works for you, you can just take a piece of tape and take that off, so that way you're more careful as you approach. But and same with here too, if you feel like, oh, you might get a little bit too much blue, you can always use tape. And here we'll have the black on the crows, so I'm not worried about too much there. But if you want to check, see, I've come down just low enough, so I'd rather go on the lower side for the blue. And this one too will take a couple coats. So my layers are pretty light, so I'll come back in a few minutes and I'll do that second one, and then we'll work our way down into another color. All right, see you soon. Okay, back already. Just gonna give it a light sand and then do it again. Okay, so that's done, and I'm not going to do more than two because most of this part of the arms are covered with pumpkins. So my coverage is fine, and so is the shirt. So we're good there. So I'm going to snip this off. So if your layers are light, you're not going to get that paint too high up your sponge. So you'll be able to really cut really close and then work on to your next color. So the next one, I'm going to give this one a moment to dry. Actually, yeah, I'm just going to give this a moment, and then I'm going to come back in here because this is the last place I really need a big sponge. And then after that, I can break it down into smaller to do the yellow and such. So I'll give this just a few minutes, and then I will be right back. Okay, so that didn't take too long, and it's dry enough for me to continue on. So the next color we're doing is called Oakum. Now I know last year I used chocolate, but they brought this brown out And I'm really loving this one. So if you want chocolate, you could do chocolate. If you want to use the Oakham, it's kind of a brown with a gray undertone. And so I like that tone a lot better than the chocolate one. So, all right, I got a little extra on that sponge, but we're just gonna go in here and carefully meet in the middle. And then take it to the side. So remember, we're gonna do those leaves in a different color, so just kind of avoid those. But if you get some on there, it's okay. Now, a lot of these colors are clear base, so the brown, whoops, just habit for me to fill that all in. So you don't need to fill that in at all. Those are gonna be covered up. But I was talking and I forgot. So yes, see? You won't even notice. So don't feel like you have to take that all the way down just like I did. So brown, definitely a clear base color. So we will give this one probably 3 coats. Like right now, it resembles more of a stain just based on that first coat. So we are gonna let that dry. In the meantime, I'm just gonna come in here quickly and sand these pieces and get this ready for the color I want to do on top. So I'm just giving it a little distressing on the edge so that it gives it a little bit of depth when I start to layer the two together. So when you stack them, you can kind of see them there. Okay, so there's that one. I'm gonna do the feet in the front. Same thing, and I just kind of pull on the edge. That's kind of how I distress. You can see the difference there. Not sure, there you go. Okay, and then I'll do the hat. Be careful as you approach that part of the legs of the bird. That's just a little bit more fragile. All right, and that's done. And okay, so all of your pieces that are stained are now sanded. This is still a little damp to me, so I'm just gonna pause for just a few more minutes and then I will come back and do the second coat. Okay, so this is dry, so I'm just gonna give it its first sand and then come back and I'll do 2 more coats. So I'll come back and do each one really quickly. And just to check, if you want to make sure that's gone up higher down enough, then you can just take this and kind of lay that there to see if that works for you. Okay, be back soon. Okay, I honestly don't remember how many coats I did because I walked away and did something else. So I think it's fine. I'm just gonna touch up these few spots. So. Okay, so now that that's done, I'm gonna come in here, cut this off, and I'm gonna do the yellow ones this time. And then after that, I'll start cutting my sponge apart. So these ones need, oops, the butternut. Shake. All right, so let's do these. Now these ones will be the ones that we're gonna need to blot off a little bit just because there's no really a big area to start with, so. And if you'd like, you can always use a piece of tape on the table to hold those pieces in place, but it's kind of difficult down here, so. So I'll probably do these, it'll be 2 or 3 times, again, depending on how even and how dark I've got it, but based right now, I'm thinking probably 2, but I will be back again in just a few minutes. Okay, so I'm gonna give these a quick sand. Okay, one more for sure. Okay, so I'll let those dry, see what they're like, and decide whether I need a third one. And then we will work on, probably do the green ones next, I think, or the white, either one. And then we'll be, oh no, we need black to do too, so we'll figure one of those colors out. Okay, see you soon. Okay, so just looking at my pieces, I think the 2 coats is enough, so I'm gonna set those off to the side. So next I'm going to give this a snip, and let me think. Let's do, I'm gonna cut it in half. I'm gonna move on to my green now. And then I can do green, and then I'll do the black at the same time. Oh, that was kind of a small piece, wasn't it? I don't, where are you guys gonna be able to see this? Okay, we're gonna just do it over here. I think you guys can see that. I'm gonna throw some leaves on that piece. And on that piece. All right, so this time we're into the green. We've got 4 colors left. So we'll do green and black. So take this, blot it off. Okay, so while that one's drying, I'm going to come in here. I'm going to work on the black. Okay, so for here, when you're putting this together, you're going to have a little overlap from the hand. So you don't have to be quite so precise, but I'm going to do it anyway so I don't back my sponge up by accident and hit a little bit of that. But for the most part, you're covering the whole thing. Oops. Okay, so black is here, here, and on here. So this one you don't have to be so careful either because we are going to do a little cover up. So I might start with this first. Just going to take it right to there. And then turn around. And get as close as you can. Remember, we're covering that up again, so you don't have to tape that one for sure. And oops, I get very even, so let's do that again. Okay, so that's that one, and then we have this bird here. Okay, so let that one dry. Let's come back to our leaves. Okay. You really do move fairly quickly with this project. The gluing will take you a little bit longer, but I mean, I could have had all this done had I ran with multiple sponges and little pieces that I had around here, but I was showing you that you can get it all done in one sponge. So the leaves are probably good with 2. I'll wait till they dry, give these just a few more minutes, and then we'll come back and we'll do the orange color and the white color, and then we'll be ready to assemble. Okay, see you in a bit. Okay, so green is looking pretty good. I might just do a little touch here. Okay, that's fine. Let's get the sand on your black and just be careful of those legs. Okay, and one more coat will definitely do it on these. Okay, pull that tape off. Right there. Okay, so this hat part is done for a moment. We'll have to add the white to the eyes after, but you can do that. So now I'm going to do this one, and same thing, just because I could get a little carried away with my sponge, just going to come in here and block that, just so I don't have to worry. This one, you might want to do a little bit, like the yellow flower will come in here and cover some of that up, but on this one it doesn't hurt to just run a piece of tape on there and then just give it a pretty good seal. So take your sponge. Now by now they could be getting fairly small, but that's okay because we don't need a huge surface area. So now we'll be doing nutmeg. Okay. Now, because we stained these top ones, but we didn't stain the bottom ones, there is a good chance that you will need to do 3 on this one. Because this one already has a darker base and will cover a lot better. So just so you notice, you may notice that difference. Okay, and then we'll get the white done. Set those off, and let's see if I've got room to tape on this side where you guys can see. Hold on. All right, can you see into there? Yeah, I think so. If not, I apologize, but everything we'll be doing is just the same, so just stick them on some tape so you don't have to hold them. And then a little white. Okay, so I'll come back. Well, let's see, check this one. That one's already dry, so I'm not going anywhere. Give that one sand, that one's still a little damp. Okay, so that one will be fine. Just gonna pull that tape off. And this one is dry. So both of those have 2 coats, but you can see this one's just a little bit darker because the undertone is different, but they're far enough apart that you won't notice. But I'm gonna do one more here on that in a minute. The white just needs another minute to dry, and then I'll come back and do that. Okay. Okay, I think that's good. If I think it needs one more coat, then I will do it after. Let me get a little bit more nutmeg here. And then we can start doing the rest. Okay, so that's done. I can pull that off. Okay, so next we're going to start doing some assembly, but we're also going to do, for those of you who like to do some accent lines with a paint pen or with a fine brush, we'll do some as we go. Give this a sand. Give him a little distressing. Okay, so he's good, and the face is not. Okay, so I think when I did this, we'll let that sit off to the side. I started with the 3 at the bottom because I wanted to get this steadied first, and then I came in and glued that to the front. So you want to grab your glue. Now you want to make sure you get this as fairly, they're exactly the same piece, but you want to make sure you get them as fairly even as possible without any like tilt or anything, because it'll affect how you it stands. So you definitely want to make sure they're fairly even. So I'm putting, so this is piece, what we call piece number, oh, I lied. That's piece number 7. So, because I knew I was grabbed the wrong one. Okay, so I'm gonna just cheat here. I'm gonna take piece number 7 to totally confuse you and set it on the back, just so I don't let my glue dry. Okay, so because I grabbed the wrong one, we're doing, this is piece number 6, so this is going in the back, but just because I didn't want to waste that glue on there, I put it on the back there. So I'm going to jump back and grab the right ones. Okay, so 3, 2, 1, and you'll see that in the diagram that I give you. So just because I messed up in my video, first you will see those on the sheet that we will include in your kit this month. So now let's do this again. So only glue where the feet would go, not onto the pumpkin. And set these in place. So I know some of you are not used to glue, so depending on your glue that you're using, yours might set right away. Some might take a little bit, so make sure you're fairly level on your surface so that way your pieces don't slide as they sit there. And you can always just give that a press, make sure everything is lining up the same. My glue dries fairly quickly, so I gotta move fairly quickly. Okay, so I'm pretty good with that. There we go. Okay, so next, put this piece here, and this piece will bump right into there. I'm just going to do both at once. So I'm doing both at once to make sure everything lines up just how it's supposed to. In case you get one wrong, it's not so easy to move once it's dry. So okay, I'm just going to stand this up a sec, make sure they all line up, and these stand up fairly well. We're 7 layers deep, so for the most part, everything should be just fine. So I'm just going to give those a few minutes to dry, because then I'm going to start layering that onto the front part. But in the meantime, we can also do some of those other pieces on the top. So I'm just going to let that sit. And now this is dry. So I'm going to come in here and we can do some layering here. So if you want to need to sand this or distress your bird, now is a time to do that. Okay. I'm going to put a few accent lines on my bird, but I don't really need them on quite at the moment. However, I might do these ones now. So I'm using what's called an Artistro water-based, extra fine point paint pen, and we are going to be carrying them soon in the store in white and black. So if you can't find them, then we will have them, and I'm just going to add some lines. Now it tends to soak in a lot more on the stain, so I sometimes have to go over it twice. And there we go. All right, right back, guys. Okay, so sometimes if I don't shake it up much, it will not appear, but there we go. Okay, so I'm not doing the bottom part because this is going to be covered up, so I will do that on its own separate piece. Now, if it scares you doing these dots on the eyes, you can leave this piece and do these first, because if you feel like you have to paint them again because you may have messed up, then it's a lot easier to do. So just a tip there for those, but just let your piece sit on top, feel around, make sure all your sides are even, and give that a press. Okay, so the next part on this, I'm going to do a little highlights on the leaves. And just do what you think you want to do. And then, whoops, I forgot the rest of the brim here. Sometimes you'll find it easier to just do some of these parts before you get the next bit on. All right, so I'm just gonna give that a moment to dry, and then I'll come back and I'll get that flower put on there. All right, see you in a minute. Okay guys, I had to charge my phone, so. All right, so I've left off here, and we were going to put on the flower, and I need to still do a little bit more. This tends to soak in a little bit more than on a painted surface. There we go. Anyways, good enough. Okay, so take your large flower and you need your buttons. So you'll need your larger of the two. Oh, I forgot one more thing I gotta do a highlight on. Oh, shit, did I do a dot? Yeah, I did. So I kind of did a dot for his eye. Get some more of my pen than anything. There you go. Okay. And then I'm going to come in here, do some. There we go. Some just work better than others, but sometimes you just got to get them going. I'm not sure if this is a new one and I haven't used it before, but okay. So just now that I put the paint on, I just got to be careful. Okay, so place this on your hat wherever you want. Give it a press and then add your button. Okay, when it comes to the eyes, I might leave it to the end. The embossing tool is the best, and we'll just kind of, actually I might do it now and then just let it sit off to the side. So to finish off on the hat, you're going to need your patch. And just grab that and then just set it on your hat there. Okay, and then I'm going to do my eyes since I've got some paint here that might still work if I get rid of that yucky part. Let's see. Okay, so I'm taking an embossing tool. Mine, I don't know, it's not too big of a circle. This side is really, I got a fine tip, and I'm just pressing it down once and lifting. And if my paint wasn't so dried out on my sheet, I probably would get bigger dots, but I'm just gonna come back and I'm just gonna let that dry. So that's all I did, and I'm just gonna leave that. It kind of looks weird until you get his face all put together, but okay, so the next part I'm going to do, I'll leave this bird for now. I'm gonna start putting his face together, and then we'll start adding the layers and kind of work our way down. So the nose is for placement, and if you put it on right, then you won't see any of that score mark because it's inset. So make sure you get that and look at it from all sides. And then same with this one. Now be very careful when you peel it. Just when you grab that back very carefully, and then support wherever you're tugging on. So especially where it crisscrosses, kind of support it there and then gently pull. Support it there, gently pull. That way you won't snap it. And I'm just gonna stand up for this one. And once again, if you put it in the right spot, you won't see those score marks. So I'm just got it laying down on there. Just kind of coming at it from all sides. And it's good, so I'm just gonna give it a press. So that way, when we put this on later, it'll actually make sense, just like that. Okay, so now comes the, not tricky part, but you're doing several pieces at once before you like make sure they sit and stick in place. So I'm just gonna show you what I mean. Okay, so I haven't taken the sticky off yet. And I've placed it there. I'm just gonna give these a sand. So this one would be on this side, and this one okay, so for this, as you can see, it's set up so that they all line up together. So that's how it fits in so snugly. So you kind of need to know where those pieces are going, or you just kind of take the sticky off and then lay it down all at the same time. This one is, and that goes the same for the hands. So it's best maybe to figure out which hand goes which before you start. So that one would go there. So you can lay those two together. And these two go here. So when you lay that, they line up together like that, okay? So, and then for the pumpkin, like this is fine, but you see how it's kind of cut off there? That's so you can get the proper lean. And I didn't have it quite so angled. So I just want to look what I did here really quickly. So I didn't have anything on his face. So let me just see. Okay, so I'm just going to keep him in place. And yeah, I think that's good, because when I put him on here, I don't want to cover up that bird too much. So, all right. So if you are careful, I would start with taking the back off of here. There we go. Okay. So I'm just going to gently lay this so it matches the curve of the face and get it exactly where I want. Okay, so it's on there, but see, this one needs glue, so that's why you have to be careful. So I'm just kind of tapping it a little bit, and so as you can see, if you put glue on the rest of the arm underneath here, that's all you need. So I'm just gonna move this for a second and make sure. See, you can see how it goes with the curve of the face. That's what you want. So I'm just gonna give this a light press, grab my glue, and put some on here. Did I put the right spot? I don't want to go too, yeah, okay. So I'm just gonna press that down, make sure everything sets. Well, I'll be right back, guys. I'm doing a video, but it's raining, so I need to go close my windows. So I will be back in a second. Okay, So give that a second to dry. And now I'm just gonna come in here. Now if you want that little extra support, you can just gently put it right there, but I think that's, I want to just, where did I put it? I think I'm gonna go about there. So just kind of eyeballing it. I kind of want the stem in between the bird and the face. So you can put your glue again on the hand, or sorry, on the arms. And kind of hover and get that so you're not smearing your glue around. Kind of put it and place it down. There. So I'm just going to let that dry for a second. I should be able to come back to this other side. Oh, I forgot this. No, I sanded that one. All right. Get these a sand. I want these a little bit more distressed, so when I put them on there, you can definitely see that, you know, it gives a little bit more definition to the pumpkin. That one, so I'm not going to do that one yet. So with this one, at least we have the adhesive still, so give that one a sand. So this you can set on here, and the score marks that are these lines here will be hidden once again if you've placed your piece properly. Now I'm not taking the sticky off this yet, but it doesn't hurt to use it to get your did I grab the right one? Nope. I'm wondering why it's not fitting. So to make sure that when you put this piece on, that all of your score marks will be hidden. So I'm just kind of using it, make sure everything's looking good, because you want to make sure these score marks here at the side as well are hidden. So make sure everything is in place. Make sure that bottom of the pumpkin, okay, so see, too much. That side's good, this side needs a little. I had it fine and then I decided to lift it. Okay, so that is good there, and the hand is looking good. So I'm just gonna give that a press, and then I can do this one. Place that and press. Now, yes, behind this we'll all have stickies, and if it's up against the wall, you'll be fine. There's not much I can do about it because some need the stickies, and I could cut it all and glue, and you can glue it all, but I've kind of spoiled you guys, so, and myself. All right, this one should be dry enough. So in here, give my bird a sand. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to come in here and do my bird here. He's working now. There, which means I might have to go back and touch up my other pieces, but I can always do that later. All right, so now if I do that, I can always come in and do this pumpkin. There's some lines, some dots. Nothing fancy, just kind of helps outline the details. So you'll sometimes find that it's easier to do before you do do a layer at a time, so that you're not bumping into any other pieces, but like this one I should have been doing before, but okay, so now I can put this one on. And the same thing, I'm going to grab this hand, just set that there for a second, and kind of maneuver them together. That's fine there, and that's looking pretty good. So I squish this down, I can take this off. Push that in. All right, I can come back here and add a few lines and dots and okay, so now we're going to come down here and I'm just going to give these guys a few lines before I start layering. Okay, so you'll need your belt or sash or whatever he's wearing, I'm not sure. And lay it over. That should line up. You can see there's a little bump there, that's where, and then it sticks out here, so that all should line up together. Okay, give that a press. Whoops. Kind of shifted that. Oh well, I was gonna put. Okay, and then I'm gonna grab my other flower. Set that there, and the button. And then the last patch, except now I want to do the lines on the legs first. Whoops. Does not help that your parchment paper is moving. Yeah, good enough. All right. Okay, and then just place patch there somewhere. All right, so okay, I'm gonna move all this out of the way. And then can work on those leaves. So you have two bigger leaves for the bigger pumpkins at the top. And then I've got two medium and a small for the bottom. So just peel and then just place where you think you need to kind of mask something that you may not have painted too carefully. That's kind of why I put them there for you guys. And besides, I thought he needed a little green anyway, so the best place to add that color. Okay. And then you can come in there and do a little accents on there. I'm just kind of being very quick about this. Whatever. Okay. And now we'll put his hat on. So you don't want to go too high because he looks really strange. So I say you want to come down about 2/3 on his nose. You can see his nose here, so kind of there. So this one you're going to have to glue. Sorry guys. So if you kind of get him where you want, let's see if I remember how I did this. Well, you just need a little bit of glue up there. So the best way is just to add some, not too low. I mean, mine dries clear, so you can kind of just check. See, you can go a little bit further down. Okay, so now just kind of hover. I didn't want him on the bird, so kind of have him centered there, and then just kind of give him a press and give him a few minutes to set, and then we will work on placing the feet. So this one is done, so we can do the lines on here, or we can just leave them until we lay him down, but it might be a little easier to do these back pumpkins before we get started. So that one is sand. Remember, we already have, well, I already have that back piece on there. All right. Oops. Oh, he's funny. Okay. So while that one is sitting on the front, we can always do the front set. Now that we've done this, we can get these glued up, and then we can go back and layer the other pieces. So let's do this while your hat is drying. Oh, I still gotta do that other pumpkin too. Okay. Just stand up or whatever works best, and then make sure that you're getting it all lined up on those sides, and especially the bottom, so he stands flat. Give him a moment. Now I know when I did mine, I don't know whether or not I decided, I think I had glued all these together, but the only thing I think I found out after is that it was a little bit harder for me to make sure that I had my curve lined up. Oh, this way. Okay, so this is 7, this is 6, this is 5, which then goes behind 4, which is your Scarecrow. So just make sure you put those in the right order, because I know, let's see if I remember, I had a hard time because I couldn't see that side. I had a hard time lining that up, but you could turn it upside down, but whatever you find easier. If you want to lay the 3 pieces together, and I might still do that, I just need to flip this guy and do this, but I'm going to give him a second, and I guess I can do this while I'm waiting. And I can put his leaf on it, yes. there. Okay, this should be dry enough, so just be careful when you do flip it that you wait and see if he's gonna fall apart. Okay, I'm just debating whether I want to do this. Because if I do this, then I know for sure, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do, I think. Is I'm gonna do one layer at a time. Because I think when I did it before, I regretted doing that. So, not that it can't be done, but I think I felt that it was easier to do it this way. So now I'll put some on back here. Now, if you totally want to paint the back, go right ahead. It will take you definitely a bit longer because you'll need to have both sides done. But the adhesive one here, you would have to rub it off and glue it on. Same with some of these other pieces, or you just leave them be, but so that little triangle will be your guide. Now this one will go there. So this one I will do here. So I'm going to do that one on that one, and I'm going to do this side on here, so that way I know I get the full curve. And then just start in the center and then push and line up with that little, oops, I hope I'm not down too far, that little V shape in the middle there. But then make sure your sides are and tops are all lining up and it feels, you shouldn't be catching anything. It should be all, mine's dry enough, but you should be able to stand just like that. So I'm just going to lay them this way and let it dry, but there, just like that. Well, I think I forgot to put a couple extra lines on here, and I think I forgot some on his shirt, so now I'm going to have to get in here and do a little bit here. You can see how much harder it is once you've got all those pieces in the way, but and then you've got your other two leaves, so then you can just set them on and then you're done. He's pretty cute. And those addition of the leaves just kind of break up that pumpkin and it hides that a little bit there. But if you don't have a paint pen, you don't have a small little brush, all those little lines that I just did, not necessary by all means. You do what you're comfortable with. You just kind of, you know, break up the color. This one's a little bit more difficult. I should have done it before, but okay, I think that's it. He is all done. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that, because I've done him twice now and I think he is a lot of fun to do. So anyways, I will see you guys back here for October. I've already got that one figured out. I think you guys are going to enjoy that one. And yes, enjoy the rest of your summer, and we'll see you back in October. All right, thanks guys. Bye.